She fell 14 floors from a high-rise in Kuala Lumpur. The couple she was with, they walked away without any charges or trial.
Coroner Mahiun Taib, in reading her written judgment, said no one was involved in Smith's death.
But her family never accepted that. They called it what it looked like: murder.
And I will do the same argument to say it has to be more than misadventure. It is definitely homicide.
Police have called the CCTV footage allegedly showing model Ivana Smith's final moments circumstantial and advised outside parties not to influence police investigations into her death.
Years passed. Then came the alert.
The police had issued a blue notice to Interpol to locate the whereabouts of an American couple over the 2017 murder of Dutch model Ivana Esther Robert Smith.
Why did the system take so long to act? And how did a 19-year-old end up dead? And why did the people last seen with her vanish without a trace? This is the case that Malaysia couldn't bury, and the truth that refuses to disappear. She fell from the 20th floor of a luxury condo in Kuala Lumpur. Her body landed on a 6th-floor balcony. She didn't survive, but the people she was last seen with, they faced no charges. On the morning of December 7th, 2017, her body was discovered after she had fallen 14 stories. The shock wasn't just in how she died, but in what happened after. The night before, Ivana had been out with two people, an American man named Alex Johnson and his wife, Luna. They had invited her to a nightclub and later brought her back to their apartment. It was located on the 20th floor of the Cap Square Residences, a high-end building in the center of the city. Ivana had met the couple a few weeks earlier through the social scene in Kuala Lumpur. Reports described them as wealthy and often seen hosting parties. That night, they drank, went out, and returned to the apartment together. Sometime after returning, Ivana fell. It's not clear how, but hours later, her naked body was found far below on the balcony. Emergency responders were called to the scene. By then, it was too late. The police launched an investigation, but their actions after that raised serious questions. Despite being the last people with Ivana, Alex and Luna were not arrested. They were questioned, then released. No charges were filed. The couple was allowed to leave the country shortly after, and they did. They flew out of Malaysia and never returned. The investigation stalled without serious suspects. What could have been a foul play inquiry was quietly closed until much later, when a judge would step in.
Kuala Lumpur High Court heard on Tuesday that the police failed to properly investigate the death of Dutch model Ivana Smith, despite a court ruling issued 6 years ago instructing further action. Appearing on behalf of Smith's family, lawyer S.N. Nair said a 2019 High Court decision had determined that her death had resulted from the actions of persons known or unknown, and had directed the authorities to pursue additional investigative steps. However, Nair said the police response since that ruling had been inadequate and lacked urgency. He said the police did not make any attempt to bring in the key individuals last seen with Smith, Alex Johnson and Luna Almaz, both of whom have since left Malaysia.
To this day, Alex and Luna have never been charged with homicide, and Ivana's family is still waiting. 8 years later, the questions remain. What happened in that apartment? Why did she fall? And why did the people closest to her face no consequences? The silence continued until a lawyer shared something online that no one could ignore. He shared a still shot from CCTV taken inside the apartment building. In that frame, a man is carrying Ivana's limp body toward an elevator. The lawyer said it looked like Alex Johnson. This image surfaced on Instagram first and was later reshared on Twitter. The moment people saw the photo, questions started to flood social media. Was someone covering up the truth? Her family felt this was proof the case needed serious review. The lawyer made the image public to push for answers. Instead of acting, the police responded quickly and tersely. No deeper investigation into what the footage might show. For Ivana's family, this was not enough. They believed the image showed their daughter in a vulnerable state, carried by one of the people she was with, and yet the investigation did not change course. It felt like a missed opportunity to examine key questions. The court had demanded action, including reviewing all evidence such as CCTV, but the update claimed the police still had not reopened the case or re-interviewed anyone. Meanwhile, the leaked image stayed in public view. A tweet from the family's lawyer described it as a moment that could not be ignored.
On Wednesday, a Dutch lawyer acting for Smith's family posted a screen capture of the footage on his Twitter page. He said the image showed that an American man had carried Smith into a lift. Smith was found dead at the foot of a condominium in Dang Wangi, Kuala Lumpur. The Malaysian police have classified Smith's demise as sudden death.
In the frame, Ivana appears limp, her arm dangling, her legs dragging. Her family says that alone proves she couldn't have walked to the balcony on her own. Despite this, police maintained that it was still circumstantial. They claimed a single image could not prove guilt. With the case at a standstill, attention turned to the quality of the investigation itself. Critics pointed out that the police never confirmed who the man in the image was. They did not follow up with building staff or gather witnesses. They didn't even publicly explain why they dismissed the video. This lack of transparency raised serious doubts. A murder probe requires more evidence than one picture. But at least that image stepped up from silence and forced a key question. If it wasn't enough to convict, why was it still ignored? The case remains in that place, a striking clip, a legal demand, a police response that echoed silence again. But when police finally made an arrest, it wasn't for what anyone expected. After Ivana's body was found, many assumed the people she had been with would be questioned for what happened that night. And they were. Alex Johnson and his wife, Luna, were called in by police. But what came next surprised everyone. They were arrested, not for Ivana's fall, but for drugs. Local reports say the couple was held for allegedly using drugs inside their 20th floor apartment. Authorities said substances had been found during the investigation. Malaysian Chinese newspaper China Press reported that this was the reason the couple was taken into custody. This clearly shows how the arrest was framed. It focused only on the drugs. There was no mention of Ivana's death in the arrest statement. The case that had shocked the public was now being reduced to a routine drug charge. Alex and Luna were held for several days. Then they were released. No charges related to Ivana's death were filed. No follow-up about the circumstances of her fall was made public. This left many people confused and angry. Why arrest them for drugs, but not ask deeper questions about the young woman who died in their home? Later, the High Court would review the case and rule that Ivana's death needed a full investigation. The court said it could not be closed so quickly. It might even involve other people. Still, the police never followed up in a meaningful way. After being released, the couple left Malaysia. They were never brought back. The case remained open, but frozen. Then came the official ruling, one word that changed everything: misadventure. In March 2019, Coroner Mahan Talib concluded the inquest into Ivana Smith's death. After reviewing evidence and testimonies, she ruled that no foul play was involved. She said Ivana's fall from the 20th floor apartment had been accidental. Her official verdict was death by misadventure. In legal terms, this meant the coroner believed Ivana had not been pushed, harmed, or killed intentionally. She concluded that Ivana had consumed alcohol and substances. People had hoped the inquest would open the door for a deeper investigation. Instead, it closed the case with a label that sounded final. It cleared everyone involved, including the couple who were with her that night. The ruling ignored key signs. Dutch forensic reports had raised concerns about bruises and pre-fall injuries. The family pointed to photos from the funeral showing marks on her neck. And then there was the leaked CCTV image. But none of this made it into the final judgment. Christina Verstappen, Ivana's mother, said the ruling left her feeling like no one wanted to find the truth. She believed her daughter was in danger that night and that someone should be held accountable. After the misadventure ruling, the family said they had no choice but to keep fighting in other ways. They began preparing a civil lawsuit to challenge the system. They hoped it would lead to a full trial where new evidence could be examined. It wasn't just about overturning the ruling, it was about making sure someone would finally be held responsible for what happened. But the misadventure label would stick to the case for years. To many, it was just one more example of how the investigation had failed to deliver real answers. That's when the High Court inserted itself and everything changed. On a tight courtroom day, the High Court overturned the coroner's misadventure verdict. The judge said the evidence suggested something else. Someone unknown might have been involved. The court ordered the case to be treated as murder under Section 302 of Malaysia's Penal Code. The court found that bruises and trauma on Ivana's body could not be ignored. It also noted the presence of DNA under her fingernails. For the judge, these were more than accidents. They were clues. The ruling called for a fresh investigation. The Attorney General was instructed to guide police in reopening the case. Detectives were to gather statements again, re-examine evidence, and follow new leads. In June 2025, the High Court heard testimony that the police had not followed through. No interviews were done, no new evidence was collected, and critical steps were ignored. Lawyers for Ivana's family highlighted this neglect in court. They argued that police defied the 2019 ruling by letting evidence sit untouched and failing to pursue the American couple now abroad. The court's concern grew when it learned that no requests were made to track down Alex and Luna. No international effort was made to bring the couple back. Through court documents, the judge ordered new directions: reinstate the investigation with urgency. On the same day, details surfaced about the civil lawsuit. The family had tried mediation in August 2024, but talks failed. The court set fresh trial dates for October 2024. Both the lawsuit and criminal investigation were now moving forward. The family now had two major battles. What began as a tragic fall had turned into a complex legal fight. The High Court's decision did more than reject the misadventure label. It changed the framing of Ivana's death from an accident to a possible foul play by unknown persons. For the first time, truth seems to be dragging justice along, but police must now follow. With no progress in the investigation, her family took the next step, filing a lawsuit that shook the system. In 2020, Ivana's parents filed a negligence suit against Malaysian authorities. They named senior police officials, the Home Ministry, and the country's government itself. They alleged the investigation had been mishandled and crucial actions had been skipped. In August 2024, mediation talks took place, but they broke down. By October, the Court of Appeal had reinstated the lawsuit and set new trial dates. The case was back on track.
The Court of Appeal has reinstated a suit brought by the family of the late Dutch model Ivana Smit for negligence against the government that was struck out by a High Court judge on his own volition.
This reinstatement meant the family could now present their full case in court. They want to highlight ignored leads, silenced witnesses, and how the couple at the center of the case was handling her death outside the country. A civil trial could expose internal reports, interviews, and official memos that show how the truth was buried. Beyond justice, the case challenges Malaysia's institutions. It also shows how hard it is for victims' families to seek the truth when official systems fail. The court's decision to let the lawsuit move forward has energized the family. For the first time in years, they have a platform. Now, with trials looming and evidence to review, the fight continues. Ivana's parents are no longer alone. They have the court's backing now. While the court prepared for battle, the key figures in Ivana's case were already gone. Not long after Alex and Luna were briefly arrested for drug violations and questioned about Ivana's death, the couple vanished. They slipped out of Malaysia before any serious legal process could catch up with them. By the time a High Court judge set new court dates in 2024, Alex and Luna were already overseas. Their departure left a haunting void in the case. The authorities had no access to them, no leverage to compel their return. It was as if the investigation lost its central figures. Then, in October 2024, an Interpol Blue Notice was issued again. This global alert was meant to flag their location to law enforcement agencies worldwide. But in action, nothing changed. The couple remained at large. Months turned into years with no update. Ivana's mother, Christina, told the media the wait was agonizing. Every lead slowly fizzled without the central people involved. This forced the legal team to ask painful questions. How can justice be served when the main actors are missing? Yet each court session, each new Interpol alert, brought a glimmer of hope. They are out there, Christina pressed. Somewhere, one day, they will have to face this. Here are the shows that remain on her radar. Will Malaysia's legal machinery finally locate them? Will other countries respond to the Interpol notice? And if so, will they be returned to face serious questions? One thing is clear, the case remains frozen. And for Ivana's family, that is the deepest injustice of all. Beyond the headlines and courtrooms, there was someone who mattered most, Ivana herself. Ivana Smit was more than her tragic end. She was a vibrant young woman. Friends and teachers remember her as kind, athletic, and full of potential. Born and raised in the Netherlands, Ivana attended an international school. There, she played on the girls' football team. Her coach described her as energetic and team-focused, a player who lifted spirits with every match. Later, she pursued modeling in Asia and quickly made a name for herself. Colleagues and agents said she was hardworking and humble. Many praised her work ethic and her willingness to help others. Look how her teacher praised her.
Smith was part of our school football team in our international school. She had a lot of friends. She was very popular in school. All the teachers knew her, and she was always a person who was out there to help somebody. She was a very caring and very humble girl, very active in sports, and also took up the modeling career seriously. And she also was one of the best models in Asia at the age of 15.
Those words capture her spirit, a young woman chasing her dreams. driven by passion and humility. Her family wrote that Ivana loved exploring new places and meeting different people. She was curious and open-minded. She cared deeply about friends and family, always calling home to share her latest adventures. In her final days, she was living in Kuala Lumpur to build her career. All of her plans were cut short that night. She wasn't just another victim. She was someone building a real life until the system failed her. The loss reflects far beyond one family. For classmates, the memory of her laughter on the field lives on. For her modeling peers in Asia, she was an inspiration. Many still keep her photos and messages. Ivana's story is not just about a single night, it's about the promise of a future that vanished too soon. She had ambition, drive, and a reputation for kindness that stuck with everyone she met. And she had a life that people believed in. Her death triggered an international fight for truth and justice. But at its core, the story is still about a girl who mattered, a daughter whose family, friends, and fans still feel the weight of her absence. Her legacy lives on in friends' messages, photos from her shoots, and memories from the field. She was more than a case. She was a being full of life. As the investigation continues, this is her true memory, a bright light gone too soon, whose presence is still felt even in the tough fight for answers. Despite years of effort, the truth about what happened to her is still shrouded in silence. The people she was last seen with are out of reach. The investigation continues, but her family is still waiting for closure. And this isn't just about one girl. So ask yourself, how many stories like this have been buried under silence? Who decides what counts as justice when the powerful walk free? If you want more stories that expose the cracks in systems, the truth behind headlines, and the human cost of silence, subscribe now and turn on the bell. We're just getting started. In our next episode, we uncover another case that shocked a nation and still has zero arrests to this day.